50p plus one standard rate message. And for the first time on the live shows, the team will be tweeting live during the show. So for all you Twitter fans, follow us by going to twitter.com/RealMostHaunted. As ever, we're running a great competition and we have some fantastic prizes to give away. One lucky winner will win LNX Cube 3 all-in-one entertainment system with loads of features, including a 7-inch digital TV, iPod dock, CD player, radio and DVD player. Plus, we're giving away DVDs of Most Haunted Live Volumes 1 to 7 to watch on your Cube. And that's not all. The winner will also receive a Ghost Hunt experience for 2, courtesy of Virgin Experience Days, a year's membership of the Living VIP Club, including free gifts and shopping discounts, and tickets to the next Most Haunted Live UK event. Now, 5 runners-up will receive a pair of tickets for the next Most Haunted Live UK event as well. So for your chance to win, simply answer this question. What does EVP stand for? Is it 1, electronic voice phenomenon, 2, eccentric vocal people, or 3, erratic verbal psychics? If you know the answer, call me now. Here's the number, 09012 933 666. That's 09012 933 666. Calls cost £1 from a BT landline. Calls from other networks may be higher, and from mobiles considerably more. Only over 18s, please, can enter, and remember to seek the bill payer's permission before calling. The competition closes at 10 a.m. on Monday the 5th of April. Entries made after closing time will not be counted, but may still be charged. And the competition is not open to viewers in the Republic of Ireland. For more information, please visit our website, mosthauntedlive.net. And already lots of good luck messages coming in as well. Thank you so much for these. We love it. Hello to Anna in Southampton, Ian and Joe in Portsmouth, Tony in Newport in South Wales. Hi, Tony, and Maggie and Eileen in Wigan saying good luck to the team tonight. We love that. Get in touch with your messages. More from Interactive a little bit later on. Paul, back to you.
Thank you, Julian. Do keep in touch. And can I say a special good evening and welcome, and thank you for joining us, to our viewers on Virgin 1. Now, normally, of course, our home channel is the fantastic Living. If you've not seen us before on Virgin 1, you won't see us over the next 3 nights. We're coming up at 9, I think, on Virgin 1. We are on Living, though, for the next 4 nights with 4 very different locations indeed. Now, Prague is a city of extremes, extreme beauty, and the site, sadly, in the past, of extreme atrocities. A city with a dark and troubled past. Here's a look at the Gothic underbelly of this fantastic place.
Known as the City of 1,000 Spires, Prague is one of the oldest and most well-preserved cities in Europe. Tourists flock here to soak up the sights of this beautiful landscape. Many stare in awe at the imposing Charles Bridge, the Gothic and Baroque palaces, castles and museums of this magnificent and historic city. However, behind the stunning architecture and in the labyrinth of Prague's underground tunnels beneath the bustling crowds lies a mysterious and medieval past. A city soaked in alchemy and magic, devils, play and witchcraft. A city with a catalogue of brutal bloodshed woven through its history, leaving behind an army of lost and tortured souls. Hesitate too long, and the curious visitor could find themselves beckoned down Prague's narrow alleyways with a welcoming and intoxicating allure until they stumble upon a world they would not wish to visit, even in their nightmares. From the winding and cobbled streets to the countryside outside the city, Prague is said to be littered with the wandering spirits of the undead, from murder victims to headless knights to witches sent to torturous deaths, and most terrifyingly of all, Satan himself. Prague, considered by many to be the most haunted city in the world, will for the next 4 nights be home to the Most Haunted Live team. Here we will attempt to lure the spirits from the shadows in which they hide, and perhaps in doing so, will call up a monster no mortal would ever wish to face, the devil.
The darker side of Gothic Prague, and joining me now, our historian Leslie Smith. Leslie, lovely to see you.
Thank you, lovely to be here.
And this is an extraordinary building and with an amazing history. Tell me a bit more about the basements and what they were used for.
Well, the part that we're in now, in fact, there was terrible flooding at one point, so people sort of went up. But we're really in a part that was used as prisons. Right. You've got to realise that this property, for a long time, as a centre administration, was also a courthouse. And as such, prisoners would be held here too. So actually, it was a pretty frightening place, you know. And this whole area, there were tremendous uprisings very often, not just political but religious as well. Think of where it is geographically. It seems to all merge on this town hall. It's an extraordinary place.
And how would you land up as a prisoner here? I mean, would it be because you'd done something wrong, or would you land up here because you were just the wrong person in the wrong place?
Well, it just depends what you mean by something wrong, doesn't it?
Yeah,
voting
exactly.
for the wrong party. In fact, in this particular case, because the region was held by the Luxembourgs and the Habsburgs and different religious connotations, but the real thrust comes with a chap called Jan Hus, who was here in the early 1400s, a brilliant man. He was burnt at the stake. He was one of the early Protestant Reformationists, and consequently there were a tremendous amount of uprisings related to him. So a lot of people who were held here were political prisoners, but actually all sorts of other people were held here too.
Right, what kind of people do you think the team will come across tonight?
Well, I think they have reason to be concerned about some of them, particularly.
Yeah.
Some were just wonderful people who fought for what they believed in. We have the 27 nobles executed bitterly outside here, and still those see white crosses where they died. That's a possibility. People very angry that their political beliefs and their religious beliefs were not listened to. People who feel great injustice. There may also be some other individuals that I don't want to get too involved in yet, because I'll be interested to see if they pop up. But they're definitely, shall we say, on the dark side.
Now, you and I were having breakfast together this morning.
We were?
And one of the things we were talking about was this city. It is amazing. What do you think of it?
Well, you just fall in love with it. You get off the plane, you come here, you just can't believe how lovely it is. Extraordinary river, and these houses, gilded houses, some of them the colour of ice cream, you know, spilling out on cobbled pavements. It's too gorgeous. But indeed, Paul said earlier, the Gothic underbelly. There's loads of tunnels under here, loads of extraordinary stories, and geographically, it's terribly important. Like a box of chocolates, all the surrounding countries have had a prod at her. Lots and lots of people have invaded here, and consequently, its history is very rich, but at times extremely dangerous. This building, when the Nazis were here, my goodness me, it was a frightening place to be in here, standing up against them, but they did.
Leslie, thank you, and we're going to hear more about that, I'm sure, as the evening goes on. Paul, back to you.
Thank you, Julian, and thank you, Leslie. A fascinating start to an intriguing evening. The journey has just begun. After this break, Carl will join Julian to find out more about tonight's vigil. That's after this.
The legend is this. The 27 executed nobles return to the old town square every year. Now, what they say is that the nobles come back here. If they look up at the clock and they see that it's broken down or it's malfunctioning in any way, then they know that there is a problem in Bohemia, a big problem.
Welcome back to Most Haunted Live from Prague. We've based ourselves in the heart of the old town. In fact, we're in the cellars, the basement of the old town hall, which dates back to about the 1300s. An amazing building, as we heard from a historian, Leslie Smith, full of paranormal possibilities and historical fact. A very strange place, an unnerving place here after dark, and somewhere where atrocities have been witnessed many centuries ago, and in fact, even in the last century, because sadly, Prague was occupied by the Nazis and hideous, hideous scenes occurred here. Now, we have a lot to get through tonight. We'd like to show you now just a bit of what might lurk in store for the team here in the Old Town Hall.
Prague has just always been a magnet for people who are interested in parapsychology, the paranormal, and the occult. If you've been in Prague for longer than 15 minutes, you've already looked at this thing. We call this the Orloj, the astronomical clock. Back at the time when the Orloj was built, there was supposedly nothing else like this in all of Europe. City councilors of Prague at that time were very jealous of this clock's uniqueness. So they became a little bit concerned when they started to hear a rumor floating around Prague that Master Hanush, the builder of the clock, received a commission from another city to build another clock for them, even bigger, better, and more fabulous than our Orloj. Now, for obvious reasons, city councilors didn't want to let that happen. So they blinded it, put out both of his eyes so that he would never be able to design anything for anyone else ever again. At first, he felt hurt. He felt betrayed by that. This is how they repay me for all my years of work, for my masterpiece? But the more he thought about it, the more he started to get angry, until he was overcome with an overwhelming desire to seek revenge. Now, Master Hanush was standing just behind that dial over his beautiful machine. He ran his hands lovingly over all of the gears until he found exactly the right one. Now, he grabbed a hold of that gear and he pulled on it with all of his might until it snapped and the clock stopped. And they say that in the first moment of that silence, Master Hanush